So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to you, but good morning from Pittsburgh. My name is Dr. Linh Phung. I am the director of the English language program at Chatham University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the USA. And I am also the director of Eduling International, which offers English classes and services to students from any location. So that is, I'm from Vietnam originally. So I speak Vietnamese as my first language, and I was an English student in Vietnam, and I came to the US to do my graduate degree in teaching English. And then I stayed, and I have been working in the US for over 10 years now. So today I'm going to talk about a few topics as they are related to intercultural communication. I'm just curious, so you are all college students, is that right? You're muted, so I cannot hear. You can type in the chat as well.
They're all graduate students.
Oh, okay, graduate students.
They're master students in translation.
In translation, okay. And do you know where Pittsburgh is?
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Okay. Yeah, many people don't know Pittsburgh, but so I often say that it is close to Washington, D.C., about 4 hours from D.C. and 5 hours from New York. So we are in the northeast of the U.S., and that's where I am. It's very cold today already. It's, I think, close to 0 today already. I haven't stepped outside, but last night it was already pretty cold. So today I'm going to talk about Eduling Speak as it is related to intercultural communication. And the title that I have here is Eduling Speak, a Site for Intercultural Communication. And I will explain what it is later on. It is basically an app, and I will introduce it to you. Okay, so let me move to the next screen here. This slide has a lot of information, but I just want to give you a very quick background of intercultural communication and the model that I'm using here, just to explain some of the elements of my work. I will talk more than just the app that I just mentioned. I will talk about other activities that I have conducted to somewhat develop students' intercultural communication, or at least provide opportunities for intercultural communication. So here, Deardorff is a really well-known scholar in the topic of intercultural communication and intercultural competence in the field of international education, which focuses on bringing people together for exchange of ideas. She has an article that is one of the most cited of all time, right, in the Journal of International Education, and it is an article about intercultural competence and how we build intercultural competence. So I want to give you two definitions here, and there are a lot of definitions. The first is from Deardorff herself, that intercultural competence is the ability to communicate effectively and appropriately in intercultural situations based on one's intercultural knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So you can see that the communication is a big element here, and to some extent, it's the highest outcome, right? In terms of intercultural competence, it is the ability to communicate interculturally, appropriately. But other elements are important too. And here in her model, it is the knowledge, the skills, and attitudes. So you can see that in her models here, you have attitudes, you have knowledge. I can point it out here. You have, in terms of desired internal outcome, then it means that the internal ability, individual abilities, as well as external outcome. This is in the sense of communicating with other people. And this is a definition that is also very popular as well. And perhaps you have already discussed it. It is by Byram, 1997 here. Intercultural competence refers to knowledge of others, knowledge of self, skills to interpret and relate, skills to discover and or interact valuing others' values, beliefs, and behaviors, and revitalizing oneself. So linguistic competence plays a key role. So I'm going to also discuss oral communication and linguistic competence a little bit as well. So I just want to show you this model and these definitions just to emphasize that intercultural communication is a desired outcome here, but it needs a lot of knowledge, skills, and attitudes to go with it. Okay, so let me switch and talk about oral communication, because at the end of the day, I'm a language teacher. This is my primary concern, although intercultural competence is something that I have been interested in as well, because I work with international students from all over the world. And one of our goals is also to develop intercultural competence here. And as you already know, English is a lingua franca, right? When people get together and they know English, they use English to communicate, just like us here. But of course, you are also students of translation in English. And oral communication is an important goal of many English learners. Perhaps you're teachers now, but when you have English classes, many students learn English because at the end of the day, they want to communicate with people from other countries. They want to be global citizens. However, the issue is, and you may already recognize it, that there is a lack of opportunities to practice speaking, especially in an EFL context. In the US context, I work with students in the US context, right? English is the primary language here. And students have a lot of opportunities to use English, but sometimes it's still not enough. Actually, when students come here, we cannot assume that they have enough quality opportunities to interact. So as a teacher, I organize activities for them, because even in the US context, you can see that we cannot assume that it's enough. And obviously, maybe in other contexts, you can see that there's a lack of opportunities to communicate cross-culturally. Students who learn English in Palestine or in Vietnam may not have a lot of opportunities to interact with people from other countries. Speaking can be anxiety-provoking, right? Even when I present to you like this, and it's the first time, I may feel nervous at first, but for students and in other situations, they also feel very nervous. There is this phenomenon that is very well documented called unwillingness to communicate. The opposite is willingness to communicate, but it's really common for students in EFL classrooms to not want to speak up even when the teachers ask, or even when the teachers try hard to create opportunities for them. So this gives me motivation to, this gives me the motivation to actually start a lot of activities and projects that focus on providing opportunities for students to communicate, and especially communicate cross-culturally. So in my work at my university, apart from teaching classes, I always organize activities. I run a conversation partner program to pair international students with American students. So today I'm going to talk about a few online activities, because with the start of COVID-19, we started to do a lot of activities online, and it is an opportunity as well, because it's a way for us to bring people together in a way that never happened before. So I want to show you one project that I did over a year ago, and I presented on this a few times. But basically, do you know Discord? Does anyone know Discord? No? Okay. So basically, it's a communication platform that allows you to join a big group, but then you can create the different channels for people to engage in, and you can also create small groups for people to join, and they can just click and join anytime. It's different from Zoom. You don't have to be there to start something. You just set something up, and then people can just join the conversation, and they can call one another. They can do text or they can do audio. So I just happened to learn about Discord because it started as a gaming communication channel. People play games with each other, and when they play games online, they need a good platform that suppresses the sounds from the game. And Discord started as a gaming communication channel, and then it expanded to be just a place where people talk. So when I learned about this platform, I set up a project, and I recruited participants from many different countries. And I think now in my channel, there are about close to 200 people there. And every week at 8 a.m. my time, I asked people to join at the same time, and I posted topics for them to discuss, and then they talked for about an hour. So my role was just to set it up and also to start it. And then I was not participating at all. And it was carried out for 14 weeks, and it attracted a lot of participants. So to me, it is related to intercultural communication in the sense that it did bring people from different countries together. So I have more information about that project, and I can share with you if you are interested in looking at this. I think I may have a recording of me presenting this project as well, I'm not sure. But anyway, throughout those, or after those 14 weeks, I also got really good feedback from the participants, because I did weekly surveys. At the end of the session, they completed a really short survey, which served as reflection as well. They talked about what they liked, what difficulty they had, and what they learned. So just 3 questions. And at the end of week 10, I asked them to do a bigger survey, and that's how I could gather some feedback from the participants. They mentioned the joy of simply talking with others. And this is really, it sounds simple, but it is really meaningful to me, because my research has also shown, I have published in this, that students actually, when they can talk with one another, and especially when the participants have different backgrounds, they find the joy in just talking with others. They showed appreciation for the opportunity to do that. They showed appreciation for others, the fact that they got to talk to others and others showed up. They showed appreciation for that. They thought that their speaking confidence improved. This is important. Sometimes it's not our proficiency that stops us from talking or communicating. It is our confidence that stops us. So think about it. Sometimes it's not your fluency. It is your confidence in how other people see you. They also showed or commented on their increased knowledge about English and the world. So this is interesting, right? Throughout just 14 weeks, they also felt that they gained more knowledge about the world, and perhaps this is part of the knowledge part of intercultural communication. And appreciation is also an important outcome. Okay, let me move on here. You can ask me questions in the chat, so I can address it later as well. There was some difficulty with the project. They reported difficulty with the platform at the beginning. When you get used to anything, I think that it was difficult at the beginning. Some participants were not talkative. I asked them to talk in groups of 3. So sometimes they found it difficult to talk with others when others were not so responsive. Difficulty in understanding others. This is when you communicate cross-culturally, people have different accents, right? Or different ways of using language, then there might be some difficulty as well. And then sometimes they felt that they didn't have much to say. Although I actually posted the topics in advance, and I posted the tasks in advance for them to prepare. And if they didn't prepare, sometimes they felt that they didn't have much to say. So the lesson learned that I learned from this project is that I think that it is important to provide topics, questions, tasks, or structure to participants. If you throw people into a situation and say, just talk, I think it's very difficult, especially when it is not something, especially when it is a kind of a made up environment like this. It's not like you went to a conference and you knew what you would do. So I think provision of topics, questions, tasks, or structure is important. But it is also important to give participants time for relationship building and solicit their ideas as well. So in terms of coming up topics or questions or tasks, it's important to also try to get ideas from the participants. For me to run any project, it is really important to collaborate with colleagues so that I can attract diverse participants, right? The goal is to have participants from different countries. So I appreciate this opportunity as well, because who knows, you may join some of the opportunities that I create for our students. Okay, so that is the Discord project. If you want to hear more, I have more to share later about how I set it up. But another activity that I did online that I learned a lot from, and I'm still thinking about it because I think it is really powerful, is this story circles from UNESCO. And I shared a link before, and you can download this manual, which is about over 100 pages. It sounds long, but it's actually not too long if you are really interested in using this as a tool to develop intercultural competency here. So basically, this is an activity that requires about at least 75 minutes to do. And you should try to get a big group of people, maybe 20 or 30, or maybe it doesn't have to be that many, maybe at least 10 people for this activity. And you should have at least 75 minutes. And the goal is for them to tell stories and listen to one another. And it is practice the skill of listening for understanding. And this is an important concept or idea in intercultural competence, as well as in other contexts, that right, if you truly want to have a good conversation, you really need to listen to understand the other person, not to just respond and say what you want to say, right? We really have to listen actively. So to carry out this activity, the first step is to set the mood for the participants. Maybe you can play some music, maybe you can do a short breathing exercise. It is just to set the mood so that everyone can relax and feel comfortable. And then step number 2 is to explain the purpose. The purpose is for people to share the stories, but also for people to learn to listen for understanding and show respect. Step 3 is to agree on guidelines, how people can share, people take turns, they have to follow the time limits. And then step 4 is when you put participants into small groups, and the recommendation is maybe about 5 people in a group, 5 to 7 people in a group, because you want diverse stories there. With few participants, you don't have enough stories for people to listen to. And then after they share stories, maybe in 1 round or 2 rounds, not just once, then you bring the whole group together to debrief and ask them what they learned, what resonated with them, what they remember. So this is through this process, people get to know one another more, hear stories from one another, and perhaps start to develop intercultural understanding. Okay, does it make sense? I recorded a video about this, so I shared it with your professor, and she could share it with you later if you are interested in maybe doing something like this. So I have done this with teachers first. Actually, I invited some teachers to join story circles because I wanted to practice it, simply as I wanted to practice it. And then I did it with my students several times. So this is just a picture of a group, a conversation that I facilitated later on among students at my university as well as students elsewhere. So we did a story circle through that process. And I actually sent them questions in advance. I believe in planning, actually. Maybe because I'm an ESL teacher, I don't expect people to show up and just talk. So I often send an email and give them some topics in advance and ask them to prepare something. It was really fun. It was I think it was a really good activity that I'm still thinking about replicating. Okay, so moving on. Okay, now I'm talking about my app. Like I say, when I do all these things, I learn lessons from one activity, one project to the next, and nothing is lost. Actually, I do a lot of things for free, but then they give me more ideas for other projects. So for me, I title this as a site for intercultural communication, because at least that's my vision, that I want to bring people from different countries to come together and to talk in English and to develop understanding and as well as to learn from one another. So I'm going to share with you a very short video. I think, let me see if it can play directly from here. Maybe it's, let me go to YouTube and I'll play this for you. It's just less than a minute and it has some music in it, so perhaps you enjoy it. Okay, let me share the screen again. Share the sound, if I can. Yes.
Would you rather go to the zoo or an amusement park?
I would rather go to the zoo because I love animals.
And now let's see. Also on the right hand side, there are 3 rocks.
Yes.
4 rocks. For me, 4 rocks.
I have 3, a small, medium, and a larger size rock.
Okay, so that is a really short introduction about the app, and you can download it. It's called Eduling Speak. You can download it from the App Store or Google Play, or I can share with you a QR code later. This has been my biggest project in the past year because again, it's an app. It takes there are about over 500 tasks there already, and I will show it to you on my phone. And the main goal of the app is to connect learners to talk in pairs based on topics, tasks, and games that are available on the app. Okay, it is not free conversation in the sense that you just say just talk. There are questions and tasks and games for you to complete with other people, but you can go off topic, and that is the nice thing about intercultural communication or putting people together. The good conversation can be the conversation off topic, and there's no problem with that. So let me go back to my PowerPoint just to talk a little bit about this. Oh, okay. Why do I think that this has the potential for intercultural communication? Like I say, I want people from different countries to come together and talk, right? Currently, the app has about maybe over almost 4,000 downloads, but I don't think that a lot of people are active. And over the past year, I have been also improving it. I just released the newest version with more and more functions. I'll show it to you on my phone later on. So these are the reasons why I think that it has potential for intercultural communication, and I can go further, and I keep thinking about this as well. The conversation topics that I have on the app, I think center around self-expression, and especially to draw out cultural differences. So there are a lot of questions to ask people to talk about themselves mostly. What's your biggest dream? What makes you smile? What makes you feel happy? Tell us about a time when you were scared. Or funny questions. Would you rather having 5 brothers or 5 sisters? Would you rather create a new game or a new TV show? So also some kind of fun questions like that. And there's this critique, and I take it seriously, and perhaps I can add as well. Some people say that the questions are not controversial and provoking enough. So that is an interesting comment. But now thinking about this, I feel that because I'm thinking of an intercultural context when people don't know each other yet, so I want them to get to know each other more, and the questions center around self-expression, like I say. There are a lot of stories around the world as well. In the app, I have this task called 2-minute speeches. People record 2-minute speeches to talk about themselves mostly. And I have collected stories from around the world, not just in the US. And I think that it makes it more interesting. There are various accents as well. And I think that is the strength of the app. People can play games together, and research has shown that when people play games together, they come to understand each other more and empathize with one another more. So there are a lot of projects that get people to play games together, younger people playing games with older people, for example. So my app has these elements that I think that can promote intercultural communication and intercultural competence. Perhaps what is missing is the reflection part of it, right? Sometimes you need to communicate, but you need to also reflect for learning to happen. So I'm gonna show you the app now. Let me see if I can show my screen. I'm gonna show my screen from my phone. Okay, I need to move it up. There's a lot of control. Okay. Do you see my phone now? Yes? Okay. Okay, it's my connection sometimes is not great here, but I think it should work. Okay, so after you download the app, and sign up for an account. You can sign up for an educator account or a learner account. And right now, I think I am here as an educator. So after you sign up, you should see a screen like this. You can, if you if you want to connect with someone, then you click on this, and if someone else also clicks on it, you're connected. So that's one way to connect with another person. Another way is to add people as friends and call them directly. Right now, none of my friends are online. This function is new. It's not available yet. It's just available to me. Is you can also chat with your friends to make appointments. So I think that this will make it very easy for you to start to make appointments with one another. But that is, there are two ways to connect with people. One is just randomly click on this, and if someone else also clicks on it, then you are connected. And the other way is to add people as friends. To add people as friends, you need to know the exact username, and this is just to protect the users, so that they need to know each other before they do that. So that's it. If you click, after you click on this, there are a lot of tasks for you to choose from. There are actually maybe over 300 tasks there. Or you can choose to play in the solo mode, meaning that you interact with the app instead of with someone else. And this just provides you more opportunity to listen and also to be prepared for the conversations. So when you click on this, you see daily tasks. But if you don't like any of the suggestions here, you can click all, and you can see all of the tasks that I have here. So I have picture differences. This maybe is more suitable for smaller kids when they have to listen to some description and choose the differences between two pictures. I have children's stories here. They listen and they rearrange the pictures to illustrate the story. I have 2-minute speeches. That's what I just mentioned, and I will show it to you very quickly, just randomly here.
Please study these words. They will appear in the speech.
So before you listen to the speech, you review some words, and you can click on it, and it will show Google Translate from English to your primary language.
Vacation.
And you can listen to the pronunciation as well. So this is just to prepare you very quickly to the next task.
Great job. Let's continue.
Listen to the speech and
okay, and this is for this step you just listen and take notes, and this is similar to IELTS, an IELTS prompt. I don't know if you're familiar with the IELTS exam. Yes, no, so yes. Okay. And many students are really afraid of the 2-minute speech because even for me, if I have to talk for 2 minutes on a random topic, it's really difficult. So this is, I will just play very quickly because I don't have.
I have always loved traveling, but not all trips go exactly as I planned them. One trip in particular happened not so long ago at the beginning of the global.
Okay, so I just fast
and
forward
to
it.
talk about with my friends afterwards. But I didn't get to do it because the global pandemic basically shut everything down. But I won't give up hope. Someday in the future, I will plan another trip and look forward to that great visit to the little country of Taiwan.
Answer the question.
And then after you listen, you can answer some multiple choice questions. This sounds boring because it's so typical, but this is just for you to check very quickly if you understand the speech or remember, and you can show your emotion rating, and then you click confirm, or I got one answer wrong, and you move to the next task. The next task here, it may be a little bit more innovative here, that you can listen and then you can move the ideas down here to the structure of the speech, so that now you know the structure. And after that, at the end, you listen again and see the whole transcript with some annotation of the language. So I feel that it gives students the whole cycle of understanding the speech, practice, see the structure of the speech, as well as see the transcript and learn some new language. And after then, I also have a lot of conversations here that you can just open and then record. So this is the solo part. You can record your answers to these questions. So I have a question here. What is one thing you'd most like to change about the world, right? Again, these questions are somewhat personal, about personal opinions. So you can record it and then see your recording in the app. I think I should have shown, that is the solo part. I'm going to show you the conversation. I need the other phone. See, this is really complicated. It's not, but since I'm doing this. Okay, so I click connect with someone. Okay, so now I'm connected. You can see too, it's both me, but I'm connected with someone else to talk now. And I have a lot of tasks here to choose from, right? I have, let me see what I should show you first. Maybe sentence unscramble. So I invite the other one to play with me.
You have some words.
So for this task, you have some words here and your partner has some words. You need to talk to move the words into the whole sentence, and then you discuss it. So the is the first one because it has a capital letter. Happy is. And so you have to talk about this a little bit. The purpose of our lives is to be happy.
Great job. You did it.
And then after you finish, you have this sentence.
Discuss the sentence.
And you have to discuss a little bit. So this is one task that you can play together. Okay, let me show you picture differences then.
Study these words before you start the task.
Again, for many of the tasks, there is what I call a pre-task to just get you ready. So here, there should be pronunciation as well. Sausage, layers. My 4-year-old daughter can do this because she can listen and then she can match. Lollipop.
Talk and find 7 differences between your picture and your partner's picture. Tap on the place on the picture.
Okay, so now you see a picture and your partner sees another picture and you have to talk to find the differences. So I can say that here, there's a picture of a cookie here, and the other one also has a picture of a cookie, but the cookie has been eaten. Half of it has been eaten. So that is a difference, and you can click on it. So you go through the whole process, and when you finish, you can also review there will be some language to help you to review, saying that, okay, there's a full cookie here and the cookie has been eaten. You can click on it and it will explain the differences. So the goal for me, the main goal here is for language development. And maybe later on, if you are curious, I will talk more from language development perspective. But here, mostly I want to show you the conversation opportunities for students. Conversation, let me see, conversation topics.
Tap on the card for.
This one is very simple. I provide you maybe 5 to 8 questions, and you can just tap on it and talk with one another by asking these questions. If you could invent a game, what would it be? So it could be silly questions, not all serious questions. And then, yeah, you take turns to do that, and you go through the whole process and talk with each other. And this is what I mean by providing some kind of topics and structures to the students. And I have many more, and I will show you all here. I don't think I have time. It says that the free meeting is going to end soon, but it's okay. I can come back, I guess. So I have, if you want to see all of the categories, I have conversation topics, picture description, picture differences, picture sequencing, IELTS topic, part 1, part 2, part 3, sentence unscramble, crossword puzzle. I haven't shown you, but maybe I'll show this to you very quickly. It's good.
Please study these words.
So I provide students with a list of 20 words. They have to study them in advance, and perhaps they already know, maybe I would expect they would know already a lot of them.
Nice.
And then
You and your partner have different words. You and your partner have different words in the puzzle. Work with each other to.
So basically, the idea is that you have one person has all the words across, and one person has all the words in columns, and they have to talk with each other to solve the puzzle together. If they need a hint, they can click on this, and then it will give them the list again, or they can use